It was said that the drowned would crawl ashore, step by step, on a rainy night. Soaked through, grim-faced, they stood before your door. Knock, knock, knock open up. "I'm back," Grandma said when telling stories. Her eyes wide, her wrinkled face betraying no emotion. The moment she finished, thunder roared and a downpour began outside. My sister and I huddled together, startled by the sudden thunder, but then, amid the wind and rain, a strange sound rang out. Knock, knock, knock. It was Mom coming home. Mom was knocking. My sister cried out joyfully and ran to open the door. But Grandma turned pale, quickly stopping her wait. "Remember the story I told you? That's not your mother, it's a water ghost. She's here for a replacement. Don't open the door." My sister's hand froze midair. But she insisted, "Grandma, there are no ghosts in this world." Just then, the knocking grew louder. Knock, knock, knock. Zillaxo. "Kyoki now, open the door for Mom." "See, it's Mom's voice." Though she said that, my sister cautiously cracked the door open and peered through. Through the narrow gap, she saw it was Mom, really Mom. I joined her, pressing against the crack to look out. Lightning flashed outside. Again and again, in the flickering light, Mom's hair hung loose. She stood drenched at the door, a large puddle of water beneath her feet. Seeing we wouldn't open, Mom grew angry. Knocking turned to pounding. "Open up. Why won't you open? You want to freeze Mom to death?" Because of the storm, the power went out. Grandma grabbed a bamboo pole, shone it toward the door, then calmly said, "See, Ion has a shadow. She's not a water ghost." Once inside, Mom complained endlessly, saying we wouldn't let her in. We were going to freeze her outside. I poured her a cup of hot water to calm her down. But she stared at the kettle, eyes gleaming. Her fingers were pruned and pale from water. She didn't care, though she grabbed the kettle and gulped it down, as if parched for ages. Smacking her lips, she drained the whole kettle. We were stunned. That was boiling water. I quietly pulled my sister aside. "Sis, don't you think Mom seems off?" "Off how?" "Mom just drank a kettle of water, a kettle of boiled water." My sister laughed. "Boiled? That water went cold long ago. I already had some." "Don't believe me? Feel the cup yourself." I cautiously touched the water I'd poured. It was ice cold. I was puzzled. Had I misremembered? I recalled it steaming when I poured it. As I pondered, the power came back, and the rain let up a little. Grandma said she was tired. She took her cane and went to bed. Mom said she wanted to shower and told us to clean up. Mom's feet were caked in mud. As she walked around, she left muddy footprints everywhere. When she went to the bathroom, I saw my sister sitting frozen on the floor, pale as a ghost. She couldn't move, sweat beading on her forehead. I was terrified. I asked what happened. She breathed heavily and pointed. "Look, what's that?" I followed her gaze. I saw the problem instantly. Mom had come in alone, but behind her footprints followed a tiny set of prints, pressed right against hers, step after step. The prints were distinct, as if a barefoot child was clinging to Mom's back, following behind her, walking on tiptoes. Just then, singing came from the bathroom, an eerie, hollow voice in the pitch-black night. It was unsettling. "Sis, do you remember Grandma's story about the water ghost?" My sister grabbed me and ran to Grandma's room. Startled, Grandma sat up. Confused, she asked, Ernie, why aren't you two sleeping at this hour? Why did you run into my room?" Sister told Grandma about the footprints, and her face darkened. "Damn it, that footprint must be from the water ghost. It's come to claim lives too." I panicked. "Is Mom in danger?" Sister got anxious too. "Let's go out and fight it." "No, once the water ghost comes, it won't leave until someone in the house dies. Then what do we do?" Sister was about to cry. "Your small Silaxu, slip out through the window. Go find Granny Zhang at the edge of the village. She knows some tricks. Maybe she can deal with the water ghost." I nodded. I knew Granny Zhang, the famous village shaman. "Okay, you two stay inside and be careful. Don't go out. It'll be quick." Meanwhile, Mom seemed to have come out early. She didn't turn on the lights. She held a wax pig and searched the house. She couldn't find us. Her voice turned shrill as she called out again and again. Silaxu, where are you? Why are you hiding from Mommy?" I was too scared to breathe. With Sister's help, I climbed out the window. The rain had gotten heavier, with thunder and lightning. I left in a hurry. No umbrella, no flashlight. I could only rely on memory, groping forward in the flickering lightning. The rain poured down, pounding my body and face. My vision blurred. I ran toward the village edge, but just then I heard footsteps behind me, like someone stepping in puddles, splashing mud. Someone seemed to be chasing me. When I ran, they ran. When I stopped, they stopped. I was terrified. My heart nearly stopped. In that instant, I forgot everything else. I ran as fast as I could toward Granny Zhang's house, but the road was slippery. After just 2 steps, slash, I slipped and fell into a mud pit, and at that moment, a cold hand grabbed my shoulder. Zilixu. It really was Zilixu. I turned around, it was Dad. He pulled me out of the pit. I've been calling you for ages. Why were you running? I called you but you ignored me. You just kept running. I wiped the mud off my face. I didn't hear you calling. How? Was the rain too loud? Maybe, but that wasn't the issue now. I quickly told him what had happened at home. But as soon as Dad heard it, his face turned pale. You're saying Grandma told you to find Granny Zhang? I nodded. Dad stepped back in fear. His eyes went wide with terror. But your grandmother died 2 hours ago. She slipped into the pond and drowned. On the way back, a storm hit. No phone signal. I didn't get to tell you. Hearing this, I was stunned. Grandma had dinner and always took a walk to digest. Around 8 p.m., she came home from her walk. At that time, Sister and I had just finished homework. We were eating watermelon in the yard. Grandma, as usual, seemed no different. The sky was dim. She hunched her back, slowly sat down in the chair, fanned herself. She said she'd tell us a story, and told the water ghost story from the beginning. Dad grabbed my shoulder. His body trembled uncontrollably. His speech faltered. When Grandma came home, did she open the door herself, or did she knock? Hearing this question, I froze. I remembered the water ghost knocking story. Grandma had knocked. Zilixu, Kyle Kinao, it's Grandma. Open the door. I was busy eating watermelon and answered casually. Grandma, the door isn't locked. But she didn't seem to hear. Through the crack stood a hunched shadow. It stood at the door, back bent, repeating over and over. Zilixu, Kyle Kinao, it's Grandma. Hurry up and open the door for Grandma. After she repeated it several times, the sister sitting by the door grew impatient. She took a bite of watermelon and yelled that Grandma had already said the door wasn't locked. Then she got up to open the door for Grandma. The moment Grandma stepped inside, I thought I saw a strange smile at the corner of her mouth. When Dad heard my story, he collapsed into his chair. It's a water ghost. Your grandma became a water ghost. She's back to find a replacement. His eyes were red when he said this. On one side was his mother, on the other his wife and daughter. He was torn. But he quickly sat up straight. Tio Xiao and your mom are in danger. I need to get back now. Dad told me to keep going to find Granny Zhang for help. He'd go home first to check, since Grandma had already drowned. That was fate. Let her rest in peace. The priority was to keep the living safe. After saying this, Dad walked off toward home without looking back. I didn't dare linger either. Braving the heavy rain, I finally reached Granny Zhang's door, soaked through completely. Cold and terrified, the village paths had no lights, and every household had their doors tightly shut. I wiped the rain from my face and stood at Granny Zhang's door. Granny Zhang, open up. It's Zilixu. The heavy rain swallowed my knocking. I knocked for a long time with no response. I had no choice but to knock harder, but just as I was about to knock again, I felt a chill on my ankle. Then a hair-raising sensation came over me. It felt like fingernails sliding across my skin, as if someone was lying on the ground. She was slowly straightening up, crawling from my ankle all the way up onto my back. The person behind me was skin and bones. When she pressed herself against my body, she was ice cold. I was frozen with fear, my mind completely blank. I didn't dare move a muscle. Just as her hand was about to reach for my neck, the door in front of me suddenly swung open. A handful of sticky rice was thrown out from inside, hitting the person behind me. She let out a strange shriek and pulled back the hand that was about to grab my neck. Granny Zhang stepped forward, muttering some incantation under her breath, then struck the black spirit bell in her hand. The bell rang, and she threw another handful of black sticky rice. The thing turned into a puff of green smoke and vanished. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Granny Zhang said the thing on my back was a water monkey. Water monkeys look very much like humans. On stormy nights, they crawl ashore and latch onto the backs of anyone they find alone. Then they find a chance to bite through that person's neck and drink all their blood. Could it be that what was on Mom's back wasn't a water ghost, but a water monkey? I didn't dare waste time. I told Granny Zhang everything that had happened at home. After hearing my story, Granny Zhang's eyes shifted. She only said one thing: "Your dad is lying." I was completely stunned. Granny Zhang said my grandma didn't drown during the storm. She and my grandma were walking along the edge of the fields. Around 8 o'clock, my grandma said her legs hurt, so she turned back with Granny Zhang. Granny Zhang saw with her own eyes my grandma enter the house. She never fell into any pond. When your grandma came home, didn't you notice? Was she wet anywhere on her body? I thought back carefully. The floral cotton coat my grandma was wearing, it was indeed dry when she came back. But Dad, why would he lie to me? I couldn't figure it out. After all the strange things that night, my head was about to explode. But her next words gave me goosebumps all over again. But you carry heavy resentment on you. There's a water ghost hiding in your house. If you don't find it before dawn, your whole family will die. It's almost midnight now, when yin energy is at its peak. Granny Zhang wasn't confident she could subdue it during this time. She told me to go home first and not tip it off. Wait until the rooster crows 3 times, when yang rises and yin fades. Then she'd have a chance. I kept her words firmly in mind. After she finished her instructions, I took the protective items she gave me. Braving the rain, I ran all the way back home from a distance. My house was brightly lit. By then the rain had eased up considerably, and the lightning and thunder had gradually faded. My clothes were soaked through. The wet fabric clung to my body, cold and sticky. The strange sensation made me deeply uncomfortable. The courtyard door wasn't closed. The door was wide open. I crept in quietly, but I could hear laughter and chatter inside. I alone was still alive, but I didn't let my guard down. I quietly crouched by the window, peeking my head out to observe everything inside. Mom, I really thought something happened to you. I was working when I saw the message. I dropped everything and rushed home. I even lost my shoe. Glad you're okay. Just a false alarm. I'm smiling now. At your age, running off halfway. This is ridiculous. The names don't even match. How could you mistake that? My fault. Coincidentally, they showed me the photo. That person was floating, face down. The clothes looked like one of yours. My mind went blank. I didn't look carefully. Dad broke down crying. Mom comforted him. Glad you're safe. Just a false alarm. Sister chimed in. Strange things tonight. Earlier, a water monkey crawled on Mom's back. Luckily Dad came back and saw it, or it would have bitten Mom's throat. Sister chuckled. My sister and I thought Mom was possessed. She ran to find Grandma Zhang. Speaking of which, she suddenly remembered something. Right? Why hasn't my sister come back? She's been gone so long. She ran out in a panic with nothing. It just rained, dark and slippery. She's always been afraid of the dark. Let me go check. Before she finished, a black cat leapt from the roof. The cat, holding a rat, jumped onto the windowsill and knocked over a flower pot. Crash! The pot shattered by my feet. I was startled, but I quickly covered my mouth, not letting out a scream. Close call. Did they notice me? I crouched under the window, but heard nothing inside. I felt relieved, then realized something was wrong. The voices inside, the murmurs, the chatter all gone. The room, once full of laughter, fell into dead silence. In the dark night, I only heard my heartbeat and breathing. I slowly looked up and saw the 4 of them above the window, leaning over, grinning, heads poking out, staring right at me. I couldn't hold it in. I screamed. I tried to run, but my sister grabbed me. Zexu, when did you get back? I was about to look for you. Why didn't you come in? What were you doing by the window? She shook her flashlight. I know you're afraid of the dark. I got this to pick you up. Mom came out too, looking at me with concern. You're soaked. Go inside and change. You'll catch a cold. This kid, so grown up and still worrying us. Grandma followed with her cane. Don't scold Zixu. I told her to go out. It was all a misunderstanding. She's back now. She's back. Dad sighed. It's all my fault. Such a big misunderstanding. But was it really? Sister pulled me inside. The house seemed normal, but as I entered, Grandma Zhang's words flashed through my mind. You carry heavy resentment. There must be a water ghost in your home. If you don't find her before dawn, your whole family will die. She didn't seem to be joking. Better safe than sorry. I need to find her quietly, Grandma Zhang said. Ghosts can't drink tea brewed with black glutinous rice water. It burns them. When they weren't looking, I poured the black rice water into the teapot. Then filled the cups. Silixu, why are you back so late? You've been gone over an hour. I went to find Grandma Zhang. I knocked for a long time. She wasn't home, so I came back. It was dark and slippery. My eyes are bad. I took the wrong path. Took a detour. Seeing their doubtful looks, I quickly changed the subject. Good thing it was just a false alarm. Glad Grandma and Mom are safe. I poured them water. My sister and I were so scared. Have some water. It's late. Drink up and sleep. Yes, yes. Zeuxius back. That's good. These old bones can't take much more. I'm off to bed. Grandma glanced at the water in her cup before leaving. Something about her look felt off. She said nothing more, just looked at me, then at the cup. Then she tilted her head back, drank every last drop, and went inside with her cane. Mom saw Grandma drink it, and without a word, she drank hers too. I watched for a while. They were both fine. Maybe the water ghost wasn't on them. I poured a cup for my sister. Sis, there's a bit of water left. Drink it. Don't waste it. Well, boil fresh tomorrow. I poured a cup for Dad too. My sister rolled her eyes at me, offering me tea in the middle of the night. Do you want me to sleep or not? She grumbled, but she drank it anyway. To my surprise, my sister and Dad both drank that murky water without issue. None of them looked strange. Could Granny Jia have been wrong? But I had another way. Ghosts have no shadows. I turned off the lights. Use a red candle to shine on people. No shadow means ghost. Seeing Grandma about to enter her room, I rushed ahead to the door and switched off the lights. The moment the lights went out, it was pitch black, in the darkness. I explained, Zilixu, no one's in the room yet. Would you turn off the lights? I quickly grabbed a red candle from my bag and lit it. We're all heading to bed. Of course I turned off the lights, saving electricity. I was about to shine the candle forward. But suddenly, I felt a chill on my back. Goosebumps rose all over me. Someone was behind me, breathing on my neck. The breath was cold, like ice that never melts, carrying a strong stench of rot. Then, fingernails slid up my back, accompanied by cracking joint sounds. Someone was crouching behind me. I took a deep breath. Just as I was about to turn, the red candle in my hand went out. In the panic, someone shoved me. I stumbled forward. The candle fell to the ground. Zilixu, what are you doing? Why did you light a candle and then blow it out? In the dark, a figure stood behind me. Yao Yu spoke, and the figure behind me vanished. I forced myself to stay calm. The wind blew it out. I quickly picked up the candle, pretending nothing had happened. I lit it again. This time the candle finally caught flame. I held the lit candle forward, Grandma with her cane, Mom drinking water, my sister cracking melon seeds, Dad preparing to soak his feet. They all had shadows. But Granny Zhang said ghosts have no shadows. What was going on? Zilixu, I haven't showered yet. You turned off the lights. How am I supposed to bathe? My sister walked to the door and switched the lights back on. The moment they came on, I stared at the candle in my hand, cold sweat pouring, because the red candle had been swapped for a white one. White candles can't reveal water ghosts. The person behind me had switched my candle in the chaos. My heart tightened at the thought. Granny Zhang hadn't lied to me. There really was a water ghost in my house. I looked at my sister, the closest to me. She had just been behind me. But after the lights came on, she was in front of me, cracking seeds. One after another, she stuffed them into her mouth. She crazily shoved in a huge handful. Only when her mouth was completely full did she start chewing. She chewed and chewed, drooling, with seed shells flying out from time to time. She didn't care. Her eyes were wide open, looking utterly entranced, as if eating some delicacy. She even swallowed the shells whole. I steadied my breathing. I pretended not to see, and quietly walked behind her. Sis, aren't you on a diet? Why are you eating this late? I said. As I pressed the talisman Granny Zhang gave me onto her back, It could temporarily suppress the water ghost's killing intent, so it couldn't possess anyone else. After the rooster crows 3 times, Granny Zhang would come to deal with it. After doing all this, I quietly sighed in relief. At least Mom, Dad, and Grandma were safe for now. After applying the talisman, I took out the peach wood board Granny Zhang gave me. This was a threshold made of peach wood. Granny Zhang said that if a ghost, she dared not cross the threshold. If I found the water ghost, I'd take the others and hide in the room. I put the axe away. The water ghost wouldn't dare come in. I walked casually to Mom and Grandma. Mom, Grandma, don't speak. Come inside with me now. Mom was confused but didn't ask. Sister went to wash the tree. Dad sat on the wooden stool beside him, soaking his feet. I settled Grandma and Mom in. Stay in this room. Don't come out no matter what. After settling them, I hurried out to find Dad. I walked up to him and kindly handed him a towel. As I bent down, I whispered in his ear, Sister is the water ghost. Don't make a sound. Don't be afraid. Come inside with me. It's safe inside. Dad froze, his eyes full of disbelief. He forgot to dry his feet. He stood up stiffly and followed me inside. I glanced back at Sister. She had her whole head submerged in the sink, bubbles gurgling up. Once a water ghost comes ashore, it can't stay on land too long. It needs to, every so often, soak itself in water or its skin will shed like a snake's, layer after layer. Busy soaking, it hadn't noticed us yet. I told Dad to keep quiet. Don't alert it. I pulled him inside, but once I was in, Dad stood frozen. He waved his hand in front of him several times, then stared at the empty air. Zilixu, you close the door. Open it quickly. He even twisted the doorknob. I was stunned. Because I hadn't closed the door at all, I stood inside, looking back at Dad outside. He stood at the doorway, lifting his foot but blocked. His hand groped for the lock in the air. Then he whispered to me inside, Zilixu, why did you close the door? Open up. Why did you lock Dad out? Open the door now. He kept feeling around, trying to step in, but he couldn't get through. Like there was some barrier I couldn't see, keeping him out. He kicked the threshold and yelped in pain. Mom inside with me was dumbfounded too. What's going on? Why can't your dad get in? The door isn't even closed. What's happening? I told Mom and Grandma everything. So the water ghost is Dad and Kyokiao. That's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Mom couldn't believe it. She repeated it over and over. Grandma was stunned too. There was clearly nothing there. Yet Dad couldn't get in. The facts were right there, but Mom and Grandma wouldn't believe it. What do we do now? I stuck a talisman on Sister's back. It could suppress the evil aura temporarily. He can't hurt us for now. That's good. That's good. Then we wait until dawn. As I said that, I sat up, but Dad didn't have a talisman on him. I didn't know Dad was also a water ghost. The threshold wouldn't hold for long. Talisman? Grandma asked. Yes, the one Granny gave me. A small yellow one, covered in scripture. Just as I finished speaking, Grandma pulled a yellow slip from her pocket. She waved it in front of me. Is this the talisman? The moment she said that, Grandma's nails grew long. Her withered body swelled rapidly. The wrinkles on her face vanished. She puffed up like fermented dough, like a corpse long soaked in water. She was already huge. She opened her mouth and a stench hit me. I instinctively covered my nose. I couldn't stop gagging. When I came to, I was about to run. But Mom behind me blocked my way. Zilixu, where are you going? Mom, run. Grandma is a water ghost too. Oh. Run where? Mom said, pulling out a red candle from behind her. Her face darkened. She closed in on me. Her lipsticked mouth split open to her ears. Her eyes went black, then turned milky white. Her eyeballs bulged almost out of their sockets. She leaned close to me and said darkly, Zilixu, is this the red candle you dropped? So Mom had swapped my candle. At the same time, Dad and Sister appeared at the door. They stood stiffly at the doorway, separated by the barrier, speaking, twisting my body into strange positions. Zilixu, open the door. Zilixu, open the door. Zilixu, why won't you open the door? When I opened my eyes again, dawn was breaking. Thinking of that last image before I collapsed, I couldn't stop trembling. It haunted me like a nightmare. It lingered in my mind endlessly. Mom, Sister, Grandma, and Dad, all 4 of them were water ghosts. But how? How could they have become water ghosts? My head was splitting with pain. I tried to recall everything that had happened, but I couldn't remember a thing. I was lying in the courtyard. Everything around me was eerily quiet. Not a single person. Dad, Mom, sister, grandma. All of them were gone. The house was covered in puddles of water. What on earth had happened? Could it be that after Pa's ritual, water ghosts had descended? But I had no memory of it. Why had she left me alone in this courtyard? Po must know something. I struggled to my feet. I ran desperately toward her house. Along the way, there was no one in sight. The village that was once so lively was now deathly silent. Not even a rooster crowed or a dog barked. I didn't have time to think. I ran and ran, for what felt like forever. Finally, I reached Po's doorstep. Just as I was about to knock, I heard voices through the wall. That old hag like you aping her whole family is finally dead. Even in death they served my purpose. They died a worthy death. She was cursing my grandmother. And that family she mentioned, what family? Did she mean us? I didn't dare move. I pressed myself against the wall and kept listening. Have the bodies been disposed of? It was Pa's voice. All taken care of. No one will ever know. That voice sounded like her daughter, Wang Pandy. Good. Once I seal their souls into the little ghost's body and raise it, your brother will be resurrected. After Wang Pandy spoke, she suddenly looked toward the window. She seemed to have noticed me, or maybe not. She clasped her hands behind her back. She cut her finger with a red nail, and blood seeped from the wound, dripping onto the ground. Then she smiled imperceptibly in my direction. Suddenly, my body jolted violently. Something seemed to be pulling me. A searing headache hit me again, and a powerful force yanked me back to the courtyard. When I opened my eyes again, it was pitch black outside. The rain had picked up. It pattered down, as if trying to wash away all the sins of this world. There was a coppery taste at my lips. It was Wang Pandy's blood. The taste of blood. I shuddered all over. A flash of insight struck me. I seemed to remember something. Zilaxiu, tomorrow is summer vacation. Let's go pick up Grandma and bring her to town for a few days. Okay, I miss Grandma too. Let's go get her. I missed Grandma too, so our family of 4 drove to Grandma's house in the countryside. When we arrived, Grandma had just come back from a walk with Zhang Po from the village. She said Zhang Po was a pitiful woman. She had lost her husband years ago, and now she had buried her own child. Only her daughter remained by her side. Grandma said Zhang Po had been feeling down lately, so she needed to keep her company. To comfort her, to keep her from doing something drastic out of despair. Mom suggested, why don't we bring Zhang Po to town for a few days too? The town is much livelier than the countryside. Dad agreed. That's right. Life in town is better than in the village. The elderly there play mahjong, fish, and dance in the square every day. Their lives are rich and colorful. If she finds other things to distract her, maybe she can move past the grief of losing her son. My sister and I had no objections either, though we weren't close to Zhang Po. We'd always stop and greet her when we saw her in the village. Unfortunately, our car only seated 5. Dad had saved up for so long, was nearly 40 when he bought his first car. Dad said he'd drop us off in town first, then drive back to pick up Zhang Po. Grandma thought it over and agreed. With Grandma from the countryside, our family of 5 got into the car heading back to town. The car passed by the pond, where there was a very steep slope. It was pouring rain. The muddy country roads were slippery. If the car couldn't slow down, it would lose control and plunge into the pond. Just then, Dad's new car brakes failed, the speed too fast. Dad panicked. They hit the brakes, yanking the wheel hard. But it was useless. In seconds, the car plunged into the pond. The pond was huge, deep, the water at the bottom dark and cold. Many had drowned here. I swam well and sat by the window. The moment we hit water, I stayed calm, held my breath, smashed the window. I swam out first. Instinct brought me up, but then I thought of Mom, Dad, Grandma, and sister still in the car. I dove back down. Dad sat in front. The car hit the pond. The windshield shattered. Glass shards pierced Dad's chest. Mom pressed his wound with one hand, frantically unbuckling his seatbelt with the other. Dad closed his eyes. His eyes open, his hands flailing weakly in the water, he told her to go. I swam to Mom, but the door was crushed, even with the window gone. The seatbelt buckle was jammed under the door, impossible to release. Mom only pointed behind her, signaling me to save sister and grandma first. I swam back. Grandma was already unconscious. Sister looked at me through the window, her legs trapped under the front seat, bones crushed. Those were her dancing legs. She loved dancing, always practiced outside. She wanted to be a dancer, but her legs, her face was pale. The agony had drained her strength. She cried and waved at me, signaling me to save Mom and Grandma first. I didn't give up, smashed the rear window, pulled her out, but she was stuck tight between the seats. No matter how I pulled, she wouldn't budge. I desperately tugged at Grandma, but she wouldn't move either. I cried in panic, tears mixing with water. Mom, Dad, Sister, Grandma, please, get out. I'll swim up and find help. I screamed for help, but a heavy storm broke out. The night was deep. Thunder and lightning, no one outside. With deep despair, I dove up and down, again and again, until finally I was exhausted. Mom, Dad, Grandma, and Sister stopped moving. I could only watch, eyes wide, as the car sank deeper, before losing consciousness. Through the water, I saw someone standing above. I remembered. When we arrived at Grandma's village, Dad parked at the entrance, saying we'd eat dinner first. It must have been her, tampering with the car then, causing the brake failure, sending us into the lake. They did all this to use our family to raise a ghost child, to resurrect her son, Yuanbao. Yuanbao was Granny Zhang's son. 6 months ago, out of playfulness, he went swimming in the pond alone, drowned in the pond. After his body was recovered, it was never cremated. Granny Zhang kept it in yellow water. Her goal was to use the living to feed a ghost child. She resented Grandma's happy old age, killed our family of 5, turning us into water ghosts. I died last, maybe not fully dead, with my last breath. When I knocked, she knew I was a water ghost. The black glutinous rice she threw clouded my mind, blurring illusion and reality. She created these illusions just to make my ghost family fight over my body, breeding the strongest ghost like raising goo. Water ghosts need replacements. Without one, they can't be reborn. But they never expected my family would never hurt each other, nor kill me for rebirth. To me, they looked horrifying. But to them, I was just Zexiu home from the rain. They were water ghosts. But more than that, they were my family. They didn't kill me, didn't use me as a replacement. Instead, they gave me their last bit of life force. They wanted me to live. The truth came out. Their strength entered my body too. Mom's last words to me underwater were, "Silixu, you must live." Sister waved at me too. "Little sister, you must survive." But I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be Granny Zhang's vessel, or a tool for her son's possession. I'd rather become a vengeful ghost and drag their whole family into eternal damnation, drinking that drop of blood from her daughter Wanged Pandy. It awakened my memories. She wanted me to become a vengeful ghost, so I'll grant her wish. Granny, Mother, Grandma, and Sister all turned to smoke and entered my body. How much they loved me. That's how much I hate. The resentment on me is beyond words. I stood before Granny Zhang's door again and knocked. Granny Zhang, open the door. It's me, Silixu Jia for a lifetime. The door opened. Granny Zhang poked her head out, but her originally joyful gaze turned to terror, then finally despair. I waved my hand lightly. She was in my grasp like a broken rag doll, limbs scattered all over the ground. Wanged Pandy, who witnessed everything, knelt in the corner trembling. She was scared senseless, shivering, only repeating one sentence. Not my fault, not my fault, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Because of that drop of blood, I had her memories. Granny Zhang favored boys over girls. Wanged Pandy was never treated well, suffering countless inhuman torments. Over time, she blamed everything on Didi. Didi's death wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. She lured Didi to the pond and caused her death there. Now she helped Granny Zhang kill our whole family, but she knew how to turn a water ghost into a vicious one. She found a chance to restore my memories, wanting me to eliminate Granny Zhang. I floated in the air looking down at her. Fate treated you unfairly, so you turned your blade toward the weak. Why turn your blade toward the innocent? Tragic. Suffering was never an excuse for evil. She crouched on the ground holding her head, repeating her innocence. I glanced at you. You still love her. Kill her. You still want to use my hands. She looked up, her face full of malice. I don't love her. I hate her. I wish I could cut her into 1,000 pieces. Really? Then what's behind you? Behind her was connected to a life. She had actually drawn Diddy's soul into Granny Zhang's body, so the Granny Zhang I killed was actually Diddy, Wang Yuanbao, and the real Granny Zhang's soul had gone into Diddy's body. I sneered. Even now, you still think Granny Zhang doesn't love you because Yuanbao exists. Isn't that right? My mother loves me. If it weren't for her, mother would only love me alone. Now that Yuanbao is completely destroyed, she'll love me. Pitiful, detestable. I looked at her coldly. Before Wang Pandy could finish her words, Wang Yuanbao came out of the coffin, picked up an axe and struck her on the head. Little sword Tizzy, it's you. You killed my son. Return my son now. Wang Pandy just stared at her silently. Blood poured from her mouth. Mother, now. You truly have nothing left. After saying this, she smiled and collapsed in a pool of blood. Granny Zhang entered Wang Yuanbao's body. Her son's soul was already gone. She screamed hysterically, still wanting to kill me. I smiled. With just you, the outside world, vengeance was complete. I still had a trace of reluctance. I returned home to that small courtyard once filled with laughter. It no longer existed. In the summer heat, the old fan creaked as it spun. That day, my sister and I were eating watermelon in the yard. Grandma came back from her walk. She said she'd tell us a story. Before it began, Mom and Dad came home. Mom carried fruit, Dad carried pork ribs. Go wash your hands. Mom will make your favorite sweet and sour ribs today. I smiled, held Grandma's hand, held sister's hand, and went inside together. Inside, the sunlight was just right.